Today we are going to show you how to make trim the table ornament placemats. Here we have our backing and our fusible fleece. We layer them together and press until they are fused together. Next, you want to locate the center of one side of the placemat. This is actually going to be the top where you place the napkin holder. Place a pin there to indicate the center position. After you have fused your fusible fleece to the back of your backing of the placemat, you need to find the exact center and place a plus or an X in that center to indicate that point for later use. We're going to take the two top pieces that are going to form the napkin holder, place them right sides together, and stitch 1/4 inch from the edge along both long edges. Next, we will turn the napkin holder to the right side so that we now see the two long edges, and we are going to press those side seams. After you've pressed those seams, simply fold it in half so all of the raw edges are together. You're going to locate the center and it looks like we've got it right there, and place a pin in that center. Next, we are going to return to our backing piece, and we have also located the center of that, so we're going to line those up one on top of the other and place our pins through all of the layers to hold this in place in the position of the top edge, and this will end up being our napkin holder. Fold the two narrow bands wrong sides together and press in half lengthwise. So you will now have two narrow bands. We are then going to take the center band and place the two narrow bands so that the raw edges are on the outside edge of that center band. Again, the raw edges are on the outside edge. I will then pin these together and stitch 1/4 inch from each long edge. We are now going to stitch 1/4 inch to place the narrow bands along the two outside edges of the center band of the placemat. Fold the narrow band out away from the center band with the seam allowance towards the center band, and press in place to form a nice crisp edge. You're going to do this on both sides of the band. Again, you will turn out the narrow band and press it underneath so that the seam allowance comes back towards the center band. You've now created the center band with narrow band flaps. To determine where you put the center band, we are going to measure down 6 inches from the edge opposite of the napkin holder. So this is actually going to be the bottom of our placemat. So we're going to go along there and put pins 6 inches from that bottom edge. You have marked 6 inches in from the bottom of the placemat and indicated it with pins. You now have your center band with narrow bands, and we are going to flip it to the wrong side so you're looking at the underneath side or the wrong side of the center band. Line the narrow band folded edge up with that line that is 6 inches from the top and place pins right along that outer edge It is easiest if you will put the pin heads facing out to the outer edge. This will be a big help in the future steps. After we have done that, we have a top and a bottom piece that is going to overlap this center band. You're going to place it wrong side down, matching 3 sides: the left side, the right side, and the bottom edge. We will then be pinning that in place again with the pins facing to the outside. And you're going to pin that all the way around these 3 edges. We will then take the other piece, and this is the top of the ornament, the napkin holder, and we are going to actually cover that up by placing the other piece right side down and pinning it in place. Pin heads out, just like we've been doing, and pin it on 3 sides. It is not necessary to pin in here. Down where the napkin holder is, I would suggest that you put pins in through all the layers before you remove the pins that are here. After you've put a pin in, you can take another pin out and put it into position to hold it. You will have pinned then all the way around the outside with the pin heads facing to the outside edge. We have now pinned all the way around our placemat with the pin heads out and are ready to stitch our circle on our Sew Steady table. So we are going to flip it over, and we are going to use our circle sewing attachment with a pin more, and we are simply going to push that through that center spot, going through all layers. Flip it over and place the pin more on top of the pin head. Before attempting to do your circles with a Sew Steady table, it's a good idea to polish the table with the Sew Steady table polish. You're going to use this instead of any other kind of glass cleaner because it's specially made for the acrylic. To determine the size of your circle, you're actually looking at the measurement of the radius. So if we wanted a circle that was 7 3/4 inch with radius, we would measure from the center needle position out to the position of the pin. And that's how we place our Sew Steady circle attachment. Setup for stitching the circles is quite simple. You're going to use a standard straight stitch and your multi-purpose foot for your sewing machine. Before you actually sew, it's a good idea to just take a second and rotate your fabric around so that you make sure that you are actually in the center position and it's not going to stitch off the side somewhere. So as you can see, we're now back to start and everything was on fabric. We are now ready to stitch. As you come upon a pin, you want to make sure you take it out. And I also know that right underneath here is another one. And I know that because I put the heads to the outside so that I could see them. If you're not actually stitching over the pin, it's not necessary to take it out. You'll want to make sure you keep your fabrics good and flat. So as you can see, we're about back to the beginning and we have a perfect circle. You're going to overlap, backstitch, and then trim your threads. And you now have completed the circle. Remove the pin more and take the fabric off of the circle sewing attachment. Make sure you have removed all of the straight pins, and then with a pair of pinking shears, you're going to cut 1/4 inch around the outer edge of that circle that we just stitched. Now that we have completed stitching and cutting all the way around, we are going to turn through the envelope to the outside. And there's our ornament hanger. But what happened to that back piece? We simply haven't turned it yet. This is what allows us to complete this whole project without hand sewing. We're next going to take a point turner and we're going to reach inside the ornament and go around the outside edge, forcing that seam out. Right up here is where you can see, as I come around, you can see it forcing that seam to lay out. And after we've gone all the way around, we are going to begin to press right along that outside edge. So once we've got that, we're going to take our iron and press all around the outside edge. After you have pressed your ornament around the outside edge, you're going to use some pins to secure that center band to lay flat. We are then going to stitch in the ditch to hold the placemat together. All layers will then be secured. Leave this flange open. After we have stitched in the ditch, we are going to use a guide or the same foot moved out to a different line, and we are going to stitch with either a straight stitch or a decorative stitch to have some added decoration out here away from that band. To top stitch around the outside edge of the placemat, we're going to use a blind hem foot and a left needle position. As you can see, I am moving the needle position clear over to the left. We will then be able to guide the edge of our fabric up against this side of the foot and get a nice clean top stitch. Now that we have our machine set with our blind stitch foot and also our left needle position, we can simply line the edge of our fabric up with the edge of the foot and lower that presser foot in place. And due to the fact that the foot has a high side on the left, that fabric will just glide right along that edge, creating a perfect top stitch. We have finished our placemat by top stitching all the way around. And as you can see, we've made our napkin. We've fan folded it and slipped it inside the ornament hanger. So we now have a completed placemat. The bonus pattern with the Trim the Table pattern is the mug rugs. You can create these with charms. You can also create them out of the scraps from your placemats. These are going to be a lot of fun to make for gifts because they are so fast and easy. You can add embroidery, decorative stitching. Just be creative. The mug rugs.